Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today's webinar in our Modern Airline Retailing series is Present the Offer, the moment that makes or break a sale. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Kathy Schoen, Director of Marketing Strategy at ATPCO, and I am your host for today. So this is the fourth webinar in our series, and you're in the right place if you're interested in learning about the future of airline retailing, about how to deliver the right offer to the right customer at the right time. So far, we've explored how offers are created and also distributed. Now, if you joined us for the earlier sessions, you will be familiar with Air Awesome. If this is your first time attending a webinar in this series, let me explain. Air Awesome is our fictional airline that we have been using to help tell the story of airline retailing, inspired by real-world challenges that many airlines in the industry face. So for today, we are going to continue the story of Air Awesome as we move to the next phase in the offer and order lifecycle, presenting the offer. So this is where all the effort behind creating and distributing the offer meets the customer. Because no matter how compelling the offer is, if it isn't relatable to the customer who is shopping and visually appealing to them, it won't land. So this is your moment where the strategy and visuals come together to engage the flight shopper and help them make confident, informed decisions by presenting the right information, personalized to their journey. So I am thrilled to have with me today ATPCO experts from our Present the Offer team, Lisa Koss and Jason Rabinowitz. Lisa, Jason, so glad to have you with me today. Are you ready to dig into what it really means to present the offer?
Yes,
Absolutely.
let's go.
Thanks,
All
Kathy.
right. All right. So before we dive in and they tell the story of how Air Awesome is using Routehappy to present their offers, a quick housekeeping note, this webinar is being recorded and we will share the link to all registered attendees afterwards for easy reference. And then also during the webinar, if you guys have questions that come up along the way, we encourage you to please put them in the Teams Q&A section in this Teams webinar. So not the chat, but the Q&A section. Please put any questions there. And then at the end, if time permits, we will address them live at the end. And if we do run out of time, that's okay. We will follow up with you afterwards by email. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Lisa, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great. Thanks, Kathy. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. All right, so let's dig in. Routehappy is powering modern airline retailing and merchandising. So merchandising is a key component of the offer presentation lifecycle, and bringing offers to life isn't just about showing a price. It's about true merchandising. So we're talking about upselling travelers to higher fares and cabins, fully branding products within the flight shopping experience, giving airlines more granular control over how offers are presented. So it's about delivering this modern booking experience that travelers expect. When we talk about merchandising from the Routehappy perspective, we're talking about attributes and visuals and how you use those together to sell and display products in that more modern way. Routehappy brings this to life by communicating those key attribute details like benefit and restriction data, along with the compelling visuals so that shoppers can see what they can expect on their journey. So we're not just talking about price anymore. It's obviously an important component of the shopping experience, but it's not the only thing that matters anymore. Flight shoppers want to see the full story, what the seat looks like, what the onboard experience is like, whether Wi-Fi is included, and even how much they may get back if they have to cancel at the last minute. What turns a basic fare display into a compelling, personalized offer are these key details that matter to the flight shoppers, and these actually influence buying decisions. So if we move to the next slide, travelers expect this modern shopping experience. So personalization and transparency should be in everything that the flight shopper sees. They want the same clarity when they're shopping for flights that they do along other retail experiences. And if you think about it, bringing this modern shopping experience to all the touch points that a traveler sees across their journey is very powerful, and it helps reinforce that modern merchandising experience. So shoppers don't care if an offer was created dynamically for them or through NDC. They just want to see and experience and have the key details that matter to them on the flight shopping experience. They want to look beyond the fare and schedule, and they want to see the value and the real choice and control that they have over their flight shopping experience. As we aim for more sophisticated merchandising, we need to be thinking about the traveler's entire journey. And there are so many opportunities to give the key pieces of information that they need from the time of purchase until the time that they're taking off. So true merchandising and this more sophisticated merchandising, this content is woven throughout the entire experience. So you can see here some of the filters that let them drill down to the exact details that matter most to them. Calling out kind of the seat, baggage, and fare related data paired with those visuals so they can easily see what to expect in various cabins on their journey. If we go to the next slide, just calling out some of the key attributes. So Routehappy again has the attribute data and the visuals data that come together in a combination to give flight shoppers the information that they need on their journey. So just looking at the attribute categories that we have, there are many of them, and we threw some sample text in here so you can see the various attributes. So things from aircraft, beverage, and carry-on to CO2, to food, to layout, to power, priority baggage, refundability, same-day change, upgrade, Wi-Fi. So really key information that travelers care about. And then if we move on to the visual side of the house, on the next slide, visuals have moved from kind of this nice to have to absolutely essential in the flight shopping experience, mainly because they resonate and they're incredibly influential in helping travelers pick what they need on their journey or pick the right products for them. In our annual shopper survey, 76% said visuals impact their purchase of in-flight services like Wi-Fi and food, and 80% said that they want to see visuals of the seat when they're paying to select it. So this really proves why modern visual merchandising is critical in the shopping journey. And that's exactly why Routehappy is pushing seat merchandising forward with these immersive virtual experiences, targeted visuals that really empower travelers to make better choices. The future of airline merchandising is dynamic, visual, and personalized, and airlines that can use these compelling visuals will unlock new opportunities and build stronger connections with travelers, which is very exciting. And I think up next we have a Slido. Is that right, Kathy?
Yes, we do. Okay, everyone here, we want to hear from you. Go to slido.com, hashtag ATPCO. You can scan the QR code here, or I believe we can drop the link in the chat as well. But we want to hear from you. What is your biggest challenge with presenting offers today? If you go to slido.com, hashtag ATPCO, you should be able to log in. There you go, and answer that question. What is your biggest challenge? Is it inconsistent visuals across channels, lack of visual content, difficulty scaling across partners, unsure what content performs best, or something else? The future. Okay, here the results are starting to come in.
Okay, it's getting kind of close there for second place.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
There's a tie.
What do you guys?
Actually.
Yeah,
Is
what do you
that
guys
first
think about
one
these?
the not knowing which content performs? Oh, wait, no. Okay.
Lack of visual content.
Ah,
is
there
the
we
top
go.
one. There we
Okay,
go.
thank you. Well,
Lack
good
of
thing
visual
you got
content.
answers for both of those right now.
Unsure what content performs best. That's a big one. Okay.
the future, the future, the future, the future, the future, the future,
Pretty across the board, though. Consistent across all of them.
the future, the future, the future.
And no something else's. So
That's good. It's a very
That's good.
ambiguous answer.
Yeah, very good.
The future, the future, the
Okay.
future.
Well, let's go ahead and continue on. Jason, I'm going to hand it over to you because we have some exciting news I think you want to share
We
with
do.
us.
And there you go. So much for that transition. But anyway, to those of you who have joined us in Focus Summits and Elevates in the past, a lot of what you'll see is you've seen before, you've heard before, we've talked about it. It's great, but we do have news for you. And here is that news. And I swear it's not just my cat. Sorry about that. Community participation is leveling up. And what that is basically is most airlines in the world are ATPCO Community Participants. And what we're doing is now starting January 1st, 2026, we are making it easier for every airline that is a community participant to enjoy the Routehappy product. So this will be something that is now available to all ATPCO community participants starting January 2026. So let's get into a little about what exactly that means. Essentially, all airlines will get full access to the Routehappy suite, including visuals, attributes, and the Routehappy API, all that excitedly with no contract, which has, I know, been a big hurdle over the years. We've been doing this a long time, and getting the named on that contract has always been a sticking point, but there will be no need for any new contracts moving forward as of January 1st. What that means is you can go live faster across all your direct and indirect channels. You can control your story by managing all your merchandising from one place, convert more shoppers with content they trust. And of course, getting back to that Slido question, we'll have materials that show you what content works best and what we have found over the years is most valuable to passengers. Go beyond price by promoting seats, bundle services that passengers care about. Modernize your own storefront without additional procurement steps. The question that we often get is, well, why are you doing this? Well, the answer is pretty simple, is that airlines are continuing to invest in their onboard and digital experience, but we realize that many flight shopping channels still focus primarily on price and schedule, leaving those differentiators unseen. Routehappy, migrating under community participation, helps to close that gap. It brings the Routehappy visuals and API access into a single, streamlined offering for all customers, simplifying adoption, expanding merchandising reach, and giving airlines and sales channels the tools they need to create more personalized and informative shopping journeys. We really think it's a win-win for ATPCO, for channels, for airlines, for everyone in the community, since it's literally called community participation, to now join in the Routehappy experience and getting all that content to everywhere passengers or flight shoppers are looking for flights. Next slide, please.
The future, the future, the future.
To sum up what that means, airlines, as of January 1st, will now be able to access Routehappy attributes, but also Routehappy visuals, the API, and what we're really excited about is self-service tools. So we've spent a long time over the last year really refining our CMS, our tool called the Routehappy Hub that airlines can come into, can build, manage, create, fine-tune, tweak, target all of their content. So that's one place where they can come into, create targeted merchandising content, and have that distributed out everywhere flight shoppers are. So let's talk about a little about what targeted visuals are on the next slide. So targeted visuals bring the flight experience to life. Airline content is curated, targeted, and distributed to where flight shoppers are in up to 28 languages. Some examples of that could be what's included in my fare. And instead of just saying what it is, you can visualize what that fare is with extra context. Question is my seat comfortable? Well, it's really hard to explain if the seat is comfortable. It's better to show that seat. Same thing with food. How's the food on board? We can show you the food. We can show you the actual food that will be served on specific routes, on specific flights, time of day, and the intangible things like, is there Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi is literally invisible. So you really need to be on your game explaining to passengers that, well, it's free in this cabin, but paid in this cabin. It has free messaging if you're a member of my Miles program, or it's $8 if you're not. So we have all sorts of capability to offer different merchandising tools for different products, different cabins. And on the next slide, we'll show maybe not an example we would recommend, but an example of what you can do with the level of targeting we offer in the Routehappy Hub. So this is an example of how you can target, how you can curate this specific example of, let's say, an economy meal in a wide body flight to Japan. So you can set a specific piece of media for a dinner flight on a wide body aircraft departing between 4:30 and 11:59, the dinner hours, on a flight that's 5.5 to 15.5 hours, where the arrival country is Japan, and show that Japanese meal that your catering team has worked so hard to perfect. Not saying this is something that all airlines should or can do or have the need to do, but this is something you can do in the Routehappy Hub. On the next slide, we really like to talk these days about bringing visuals and targeted media beyond just the initial shopping flow. So a lot of our content today we see is using the flight comparison, the initial very first, I've just typed in JFK LAX search, and then the flight options come up. But we know there's so much more to the flight shopping experience and the post-booking experience. So we've created some mock-ups, hypotheticals on what our content could be used elsewhere in the shopping experience. So this is an example that we like to use of a passenger shopping London Heathrow to New York. And we see there are a couple touch points with the visual content here. One showing what the economy experience is looking like, with a few bullet points of what makes that experience really great. Off to the right in the branded fare selection, there's a little image of the premium economy cabin and what that could look like. But once the flight shopper has selected a particular offer or cabin, you can also present an upsell opportunity, in this case to business class. And it works a lot better if you show the flight shopper, what does that cabin look like? What does that seat look like? What are the attributes of that seat? What are the benefits or possibly restrictions of upgrading to business class? The opportunities are really quite endless to suit what this particular airline or what any particular airline needs. And I know from my personal experience, if I'm being asked to upgrade to business class, in this case $450, I'd like to see what the seat looks like and know what the benefits are and what the restrictions are. And that's really something we're trying to get across, is that there are so many touch points where Routehappy's content can be used. On the next slide, we're also really trying to popularize the idea of using visual content and attributes elsewhere in post-booking emails, check-in notifications, reminders, abandoned cart emails. I know when I book a flight, there are so many emails that come in from an airline post-booking the day of flight. I'm flying later today, and I've already gotten 3 emails about my flight and my experience. But often they're missing the visual cues, they're missing the attributes. So on the left, we've created an example email that has basically a gallery of 4 different options. Here's what our new business suite looks like. Here's what the food looks like. Here's what our amenity kit looks like. And here's our turn down service. Unfortunately, none of that's going to be on my flight, my regional jet flight later today. But on the right, we can see that we've also incorporated that upsell again right into the email. So rather than, in this case, rather than just explaining and showing the features that are available for that particular flight, we've incorporated the actual upsell right into that email that shows the product and the attributes, of course. So we see that it's a full flat seat with 1-2-1 seat layout, provides a meal, has premium alcohol and beverages provided. So really, it's about getting all of those different touch points, as many visuals, as many attributes as possible, because there's so many missed opportunities right now where content can be and just isn't.
The future.
One of those places where content can be, but just isn't, is on the next slide, on seat maps.
The future.
Seat maps are a big missed opportunity on most sales channels. They typically look like this. And I know if you've joined Elevate, if you've joined Focus Summit before, you've probably seen this slide before, but this is how most cabins are presented. This is actually a business class cabin, not economy, even though on the left you would think it's economy, but seat maps are really hard and they can really benefit immensely from visual content. Next one, please.
The future.
So this is typically how flight shoppers are being asked to basically buy up to a seat. Airlines can and now do charge up to hundreds and hundreds of dollars for particular seat assignment on seat maps, especially in premium cabins. In this case, this airline is selling the bulkhead, the front of cabin seats for $575. But on this particular sales channel, they have no control over what's shown and how that offer is presented. So there is no information on why, what is behind that $575 offer versus that $161 offer versus the seat that doesn't cost anything. So what we have developed and have been fine-tuning over the last year on the next slide is a product called, oh, I'm sorry, there's one more slide. What's on the left is not properly represented by what's on the right. So in this case, it's Lufthansa Allegris, a very nice business class seat, but it's retailed in almost all channels how you see on the right, just a square in a rectangle with the dollar sign on it, and it costs $196. So on the next slide, please, we have our seat characteristic product, which ties IATA standard PATIS codes to our targeted media to actually show what those seats look like. So in this case, there are a couple channels that have already integrated this content, but it shows the actual seat type that has been selected, whether it's the seat that's closer to the window or closer to the aisle, a seat that's more private, a seat that is different in some ways. Maybe it's a bulkhead seat. Maybe it's an extra legroom seat. Maybe it's the duo seats on an A330. We have the ability to tie all of these different types of seats to particular types of media. So not only can you show it, but a passenger can be armed with the information they need to not only know what am I getting into, what am I selecting, but more importantly, they know what they're spending their money on. And while they are already shopping for a flight, passengers, flight shoppers are much more likely to make that added ancillary purchase now at the time of purchase when they're already purchasing the flight, rather than coming back later at check-in or at the gate or at the airport kiosk to then take out the credit card again and opt to buy one of those fancier, nicer seats. So if you can incorporate all that right in the shopping flow, that goes a long way to making a much more comprehensive, tailored, knowledgeable experience for the flight shoppers. On the next slide, we have a couple examples of what it's going to look like. And these are live examples on channels that support the feature right now with our airline. So on the far left, we see an example of Etihad's bulkhead seats. So it's not just about the image, but it's also the important context that the text along with the image can bring. So in this case, it's the bulkhead seat, and we are showing the actual bulkhead seat, in this case on one of Etihad's 787s. And yes, the image shows that there is a ton of legroom on this particular seat, but it also describes what that is. So it says, located directly behind an internal wall of the aircraft cabin, and more space as there are no seats in front of you. That's really compelling. The middle there is an example from Air Canada, its preferred seat. This one I really particularly like because it goes beyond just saying you have extra legroom, because in this case, you not only get extra legroom, but you get priority boarding. You get early access to overhead bin space, which if you've flown in North America before, that's a really important feature to know that you'll get on board that aircraft, and paying for that seat will get you access to overhead bin space. Personally, that's a big deal, and I'm probably going to pay for that access. Oh, and also, there's extra legroom to stretch out. That's important. On the far right, we love this example, of course. We love Lufthansa Allegris because the airline has gone so far to make sure there is an offer and there's a seat type for every type of passenger. In this case, it's the extra space seat, which provides, they say, a high degree of privacy and extra space for storage or to work. And the comfortable seat, of course, converts into a full bed. With 7 different types of business class seats, I believe there's a lot of differentiation for Lufthansa to offer in its Allegris product. But without the ability to show something like this with a seat characteristic visual, passengers are kind of left to their own devices to figure out, what does this seat provide? What does that seat provide? Why should I pay $596 or $161 or nothing at all? Maybe I should just roll the dice and let the airline assign me a seat. Maybe I'll end up in that $596 seat. But we'd really prefer for the passenger to know what they're doing ahead of time and to proactively select and pay for that seat in the initial shopping flow, because that provides a much more seamless experience end to end where the passenger knows exactly what they're getting. They'll know exactly what the benefits of that seat are. So we're really excited about seat characteristic visuals. We have seen the highest take up of this particular feature from airlines of any product we have launched in the past. Because it's a really low effort product on the airline side. You simply provide the media like you see here and tell us what seat characteristic codes apply to which particular seat. And that's about it. So long as the channel supports the feature, and there are an increasing number of channels that do support this feature, that's all you have to do. So it's a really high gain opportunity here, but a very minimal amount of work. And of course, if there's any questions along the way, we're happy to help build out that content as well. Seat characteristics are not the only thing we're very excited about right now. You may have in the past in Focus Summit or Elevate heard us talk about virtual tours. And we are very excited to talk a bit more about that. And for those who haven't been introduced to that topic before, virtual tours take visuals to the next level. If the phrase "a photo speaks 1,000 words," well, a virtual tour is like 1,000 photos, because it basically is 1,000 photos. It provides targeted, interactive, 360-degree content, and that empowers airlines and sales channels to develop an even more modern flight shopping experience. Our 2024 Flight Shopper survey showed that 83%, which is a very high number for to get anyone to agree on anything, but 83% of flight shoppers prefer to see interactive visuals when selecting a seat. And thankfully, we're actually able to combine virtual tours and seat characteristics. So if there's a channel need and the airline content, we can actually combine those two features. So if a flight shopper selects an exit row seat, we will actually be able to deliver a virtual tour to that exit row seat. So this product delivers the shopping experience customers want. It embraces a seamless, scalable innovation, because we know that there are already airlines out there that have this content, already have it created, but don't really know what to do with it. It's either on their fleet page or somewhere on the About Us page, or maybe it's used in marketing somewhere, but it's almost never presented in the flight shopping experience, where it can be the most impactful to lead to boosted revenue and increased customer trust. And it can really enhance the shopping experience to drive that upsell opportunity, conversion, and customer loyalty. This content is live right now. It has been live for quite a while. We've been, or quite a few months, we've been working with a great industry partner called Renison for their 3D Seat VR product, and it has been live as a POC with Amtrak on the next slide, if you could play the video. And we'll just show a little bit what that content looks like. So this is Amtrak's A2B platform, demonstrating what the content looks like. So this is a United 777, it looks, or 787, and it actually, despite the low frame rate of the Teams webinar here, allows the passenger to navigate the cabin to see what the features are of this premium economy seat, and then toggle over to business class and see what those features are, see what that seat looks like. See, is this something that I want to spend that extra money for? And actually see what that cabin looks like, rather than just telling the passenger. Here's another example from, I believe, Avianca, showing its A350, showing economy. You can actually go into a particular seat, see what that looks like, see what the legroom looks like, see what the entertainment screen looks like. If you're really crazy like me, you can zoom in on the USB port and see, where is it? Is it USB-A? Is it USB-C? You can move into premium cabins, and you can see, in this case, the really nice A350 experience on Iberia. I'm sorry, this is Iberia, and see what that cabin looks like, and see which version of this seat it may be, because many airlines, of course, have different versions of their business class seat, and it allows, in this case, the passenger to see exactly what they're getting. So we're very excited about that. We're currently rolling this out with our partner Renison. We'll have more to say about it in the future, but we're really excited for additional channels to launch this content. We're already seeing a couple now that are doing the development work to get that behind the scenes, to get that to flight shoppers. If you're a channel and are interested in this content, please reach out to us. We're very excited about it, and we'd like to see this in as many touch points as possible. So now on the next slide, I basically summed this up already, but it's really easy. As an airline, simply provide the content to ATPCO. whether you're starting off fresh with new virtual tour content or using existing assets. All you have to do is provide us the means to access the content, whether it's the content itself or a simple URL pointing to where that content is. Just provide that to us. Then we will target it in the Routehappy Hub, and then airlines just approve it, and then it goes out to sales channels. So this will allow sales channels to have access to showcase virtual tours, increasing customer experience and unlocking, hopefully, new revenue opportunities that we're very excited about. So that's what we have to talk about on the visuals side of things. But I'm going to toss the webinar back to Lisa, who will talk about another very exciting development, dynamic ancillary bundles. So take it away, Lisa.
Thanks, Jason. Yes, so dynamic ancillary bundles. So Jason was talking about some of the exciting things on the visual side, and we just wanted to take a moment to talk about dynamic ancillary bundles on the attribute side. So as adoption of NDC, if we can go to the next slide, please. So as adoption of NDC and dynamic offers continues to grow each year, we've been watching closely, and not just at how fast they're growing, but also what kinds of offers airlines are actually pursuing and what value that's creating across the industry. And the numbers are really telling a compelling story. NDC growth is up 50% year over year, and that's based on the ARC data. Even more striking, we estimate that 31% of all offers today are dynamically created, and that's up by 82% since 2022, which is a huge number. So in just 3 years, we've seen this massive shift towards dynamic offers. It's getting very exciting. So if we go to the next slide, when we did our market research talking to airline systems and channels, we found that dynamic ancillary bundles are by far the most common type of dynamic offer already in the market or on airline roadmaps. So what exactly are these bundles? They're NDC offers where airlines dynamically combine fares with ancillaries at the time of shopping. They can be targeted by customer ID, corporate ID, route loyalty tier, and many more, making the experience much more personalized. The commercial impact is huge and has great benefits across the industry, giving flight shoppers the ability to get bundled ancillaries that meet their shopping needs. And there was an MIT study that showed the dynamic pricing and bundling airlines could see a 12% increase in total net revenue, with almost 3% coming from bundling alone. So this helps tremendously improve load factors and increase bookings for more price-sensitive travelers. So these dynamic ancillary bundles are really driving real measurable results. And we have great work that we're doing, partnering with airlines on some bundling to get into the market and working with channels to get those distributed. So if you have any interest, please reach out to us. If you're a Routehappy customer, we'd love to talk more to you. With that, I think we're over to Kathy again here. We're going to do another Slido.
Yes. All right. We hope everyone has been paying attention. And we want to check in and see, hear from you. So we heard some pretty exciting ways of, if this was Air Awesome, our fictional airline, using Routehappy, there were some pretty exciting ways that they were upping their merchandising game. So we want to hear from you now. Where do you see the most opportunity to improve your merchandising? So go to slido.com.
The future.
There we go. Already getting the answer. So more visuals and attribute touch points.
The future.
Characteristic targeting, virtual tours, or dynamic ancillary bundles. Out of all of those choices, where do you see the most opportunity to improve your merchandising?
The future.
Lisa, Jason, what are your thoughts on these results here?
I'm excited about the top answer being more visuals and attributes touch points, because that's exactly what we've been talking about, and I showed in some of the slides earlier about incorporating visuals and attributes, not just in the shopping flow, but in anywhere you have a touch point with a customer, and whether it's your mobile phone app or check-in emails or post booking emails or day of emails, or even things like aircraft swap emails. If don't just tell me you swapped from a 777 to an A330, show me what that swap looks like. Show me what is on that new aircraft and what changes there may or may not have been. There's a lot of opportunity to incorporate more visuals and attributes.
I think the transactional emails that you're mentioning, Jason, are so important because often they don't incorporate a lot of visuals or a lot of those key pieces of information. So when we talk about retailing or merchandising being this journey, we started in one place and we've done, incredible, but now I think that there's other places to look and to use the data to resonate with shoppers in various ways. So those emails at the airport, during the journey, there's a lot of different ways that we can incorporate these compelling visuals to make sure that they're understanding and seeing what they're going to get.
The future.
And I like to see Dab up there. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Attributes, visuals are so compelling. Attributes are key pieces of information, not as compelling, to look at. But we do find that attributes are one of the most important integrations that our channels have. People want to know if they can change their ticket, if they can cancel their ticket, and if so, for how much, because money matters, as we all know.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
it
only one person selected either see characteristic targeting or virtual tours, which means I really have to amp up my presentation next time and make it that much more exciting.
It's all on you, Jason.
Can't allow these low numbers.
Future of visuals, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for participating in that poll. We do have one question in our Q&A section here, so I'm going to read it off. And Lisa, Jason, I know. So if anybody has any questions, now's the time to put them in the Q&A section here of the webinar. Okay. The question is, where does Routehappy fit into the ecosystem? Does it fit into the shopping flow? If yes, can we assume it's only enhancing with rich contents based on the pricing done through legacy pricing and statistically filed fares? That was a lot of questions in one.
Okay. I think that it fits. I'll jump in here, and Jace, please jump in as well. Yep. But I think it fits into many places, but I think the place that merchandising has really taken off is in the shopping and booking flow. We typically see that some of our attribute data, like what you'll get on board the aircraft, like power, Wi-Fi, those amenity type things are often shown at the start of the shopping and booking flow. And as you narrow into the flight that you would like to take, seeing the visuals that you may, the seat that you're going to sit in, and some of those policies that you get as you get closer to the time of booking are really important. But I think larger than that, if we're talking about every time you make contact with a customer as an additional touch point, those emails that we were talking about on, you have a change of aircraft, helping to set expectations that you were on this type of aircraft and now it's changed, giving that information, showing a picture. Those are other opportunities. So we want to think more broadly than just in the shopping and booking. Exchange paths, et cetera, for key attribute data. So I think that there's really no limit to it. And if you look at other industries of how they do retailing or merchandising, one of the things we've talked about for a long time is if you go to Amazon, for example, and you want to buy some toothpicks, if you look at the number of bullets about the toothpicks, if you look at the pictures and even a video of the toothpicks, merchandising of something as basic as a toothpick compared with, a much more, a larger purchase such as your flight shopping, for you and your family, we should have all the information at their fingertips across the entire journey from start to finish. Jason, anything you want to add there, or Kathy?
So the second part of the question is, I'll just restate it. Can we assume it's only enhancing rich contents based on the pricing done through legacy pricing and statically filed fares? No, that is definitely not the case. Many offers today on shopping channels that already exist are NDC or they're dynamically created. And of course, the visual and attribute content can be tied to that and often is today. So if you go to many shopping channels that support, let's say, NDC and get their content directly from airlines, you will see visual content and attribute content today that is coming from the Routehappy platform to enhance those offers. So definitely not a product that is only legacy pricing or for statically filed fares, because we'd be in a lot of trouble if that were the case right now. But
Yes,
definitely something we can do.
And making another plug for dynamic ancillary bundles and the work that we're doing, taking these dynamically generated bundles and being able to tie the Routehappy content to them is a project we're working on now. So if you have more interest and want to learn more of how we're doing that, if you're an airline or a channel, please reach out. We'd be happy to talk more and hopefully get you on board as an early partner to do that.
Right. All right. Well, we have a quiet bunch this morning or afternoon, wherever you are, but no more questions. So I'm going to close us up here today. So big thank you, Jason and Lisa, for sharing your expertise with us. And thank you to everybody who joined us today. We hope you leave inspired with some ideas that you can act on to take your merchandising to the next level. And our next webinar in our series will be August 12th. You can see here, it will be about posting, servicing, and settling the critical final steps in airline retailing. So if you are interested in learning about how to tackle the complexities of post-sale operations, make sure you register today and get that webinar on your calendar. And we will drop a link to register in the chat and send an email out later as well. So thank you everyone again for joining us, and we hope you have a great day.